Hey, what up? It's your boy Skeletor back at it with this week's comic book haul, and this week we're looking at Ultimate Spider-Man number 10, Rat City number 7, the Uncanny X-Men number 4, and the Spectacular Spider-Man number 8. And this week we're going to kick things off with Spawn Rat City by Erica Schultz and art by Zay Carlos. Zay? Whatever. Last month when we saw Spawn, he was kind of in the middle of having a freak out while the PTS science guys were trying to hunt him down. He accidentally hurt his friend, Quinlan, and used a new, I don't know what you want to call it, some kind of shadow power to teleport between shadows. Anyway, he took her to a safe house. But we open with what she sees. Apparently, she's in hell. And she's witnessing the original Spawn fighting the Violator, or Malbrosia. Honestly, again, I get all these demons mixed up. But in a cool scene, Spawn rips the demon's head off, and its blood is apparently like acid because it begins melting her face. But I guess it only melts her soul's face, and not her real-life face? Whatever. Spawn's using some of his cape nanites to heal up her wound. Unfortunately, it's those nanites themselves that are making her see these things. Long story short, he finds some old medical gear, tries to bring her back, and once she wakes up, the nanites return to him, kind of like a Venom symbiote. Back at PTS headquarters, the science guys are all freaking out about how Spawn was able to just disappear off the map, which is crazy because that's never happened before. Cut back to Spawn, and we get a little bit of history on the building that they're hiding out in, and it's essentially just a giant warehouse, like a storage facility, like a U-Haul kind of thing. As soon as the nanites come off of Quinlan, she pops back up on the radar, and the science guys know if she's there, Spawn's probably nearby. So, time to go hunt her down. But before they can jump on that mission, the big boss of the entire company shows up and lets everybody know just how disappointed he is in them. And finally, Quinlan and Spawn open up their warehouse and take a look at what kind of inventory they have. And I don't know what to do with any of the stuff I'm looking at here, but I don't know. That's it. I got through this really quick. Rat City is just a bunch of short stories. It's all connected, but I'll be damned if you can't read through it in like 5 minutes or less. This one didn't feel as offensively boring as the other ones. It was pretty cool to see Quinlan go to hell and witness a fight between Spawn and a demon. That was pretty cool. The art, again, art hasn't gone uphill or downhill. It's solid. On a scale of 1 to 5, I'm gonna say this is a 3. This wasn't bad by any means. I wish it would go somewhere. If this was just for me, I would be picking up maybe like the omnibus once all of these issues come out, but again, buying it for a friend, so 1 issue per month, 1 month at a time. Eventually we'll get there. Next up is Spectacular Spider-Man number 8, written by Greg Weisman and art by Emilio Laso and Andreas Genolet. I'm sorry, man. I really am sorry. So this is the beginning of a new story arc. Strange Love, Chapter 1, Triage, whatever. We pick up pretty much exactly where that last issue left off. Arcade and Mantello haven't been caught by the cops, but the Imaginarium Arcadium thing has been shut down. And we find out that everyone who was kind of trapped in there is going to therapy together at the coffee shop. All the Jackal clones and then all the Rat People clones are now living in the sewers with Miles's clone. The art is great. Everybody feels in character, but it's kind of a slow issue. It's just characters working through stuff. Peter, for example, mentions, sure, it was all an illusion, but I legitimately believed I had a wife and kids, and then I woke up and they were just gone. I had a whole life, and now I don't. Everybody's kind of messed up. They all had different things going on, and none of it was real. And they're all pretty messed up by that. As far as setting up for further plot lines, when we bump into Silk, she's fighting female Electro, and once Spider-Man shows up, she's like, nah, 2 spiders against 1, nah, I'm out. And she just disappears. Back at a bar, the original Electro sees this on TV and he's like, nah, she's ruining my brand name. I gotta take out these spiders. So I'm sure we'll be dealing with Electro in an issue or 2. Overall, it's, it's a cozy issue. Oh yeah, and the one chick turns into smoke, and then she turns into water, and then she disappears. So we're gonna have to unravel that mystery. We're gonna have to deal with Electro, and I'm hoping this is the end of therapy. I just want to get back to Miles and Peter hanging out and doing stuff. Overall, man, on a scale from 1 to 5, this was probably a 3. I almost want to say 4 because of the art, but I feel like that's putting it just a little too high. There was hardly any action. It was literally just one giant therapy session, the book. Yeah, this should be a 2, but the artwork was so good. I'm gonna say it's a 3 out of 5. Yeah, that sounds right. 3 out of 5. And next up, we've got Ultimate Spider-Man number 10, written by Jonathan Hickman and guest artist David Messina. I'll tell you up front, right now, there is no Spider-Man in this book. This entire thing is J. Jonah Jameson and Uncle Ben hunting down leads, sneaking into places so they can interview people, and just generally hanging out and being best friends. I never thought I would say this, but I absolutely loved this. An issue where Spider-Man isn't even in it, and it's one of the best things I've read all week. They're trying to figure out who or what the Stark company got sold to, and every month it gets sold off to a different shell company. And if you keep going through those shell companies, eventually it's going to tie back to the Kingpin somehow. And that's what this is. And I absolutely love how they're going at this. They're just being snarky, condescending, and they know how to push everybody's buttons. And they bounce off each other really well, too. Eventually, they end up at Gwen's office. Again, Gwen Stacy is married to Harry Osborn in this universe and helps him run Oscorp. They've realized Oscorp bought Stark Industries, so they decide to go talk to her about it. And instead of asking like normal people, they just show up and start asking questions like actual reporters, which then makes Gwen respond, okay, I want my money back. You're not supposed to be looking into me. She did help fund their little paper. And this is probably the only time we'll see Peter in the whole thing. He's just playing chess with his kids while Mary Jane and Uncle Ben have a discussion in the kitchen. And as great as all of that was, here's the good part. 2 days later, Harry shows up. Harry shows up at the paper. Uncle Ben and Jonah pull out their wallets. It's like, alright, pay up. Harry's like, alright, what is this? What's going on? Oh, well, we were both betting it was either you or your wife running around in that green suit of armor. I thought it was gonna be your wife. Harry's like, seriously? And Jonah's like, hey, I'm not sexist. Could have been your wife wearing the goblin suit. Harry gets pissed off, and this is where we realize he doesn't quite put on the suit like, actually put it on. It's nanites. It starts to form around him. And once that happens, they exchange money again because, oh, turns out Harry's the goblin, not Gwen. And this just angers him even more. So why shouldn't I just kill you guys right now? Here's the whole reason we're doing this in the first place. Why would the Kingpin sell you a company that you could use to take him down? Does he not know what Stark Industries has? Or is he playing you? Harry removes his armor and decides to give them a flash drive with all the information he's got on both Stark and Kingpin. And with that, the two of them start getting down to real work. And we get a quick look at the front page. Wilson Fisk runs New York, but who runs Wilson Fisk? By Ben Reilly, which I thought was just hilarious. Ben Reilly is the Peter Parker clone, Scarlet Spider. They're using his name as a fake name so they don't get attacked for writing this, which also makes me think we're probably not going to get a real Ben Reilly in this universe, but still, that's cool. Honestly, this was so much fun to read. It looks good, it was great. There's no Spider-Man, which the fact I enjoyed it this much with no Spider-Man, again, just blows my mind. This is a 5 out of 5 right here. This is, I mean, look, well, let's be honest. I got one more comic to go, and if the second to last, the 5 out of 5, the next thing we're looking at are the 2 best things of the week. The fact that we have 2 number 1s, oh my god. And, of course, that brings us to our next top pick of the week, and the final comic of this video, The Uncanny X-Men, number 4, written by Gail Simone and artist David Marquez. Again, like the last couple issues, we've opened up with a flashback to Professor X, back in his college days, and he's dating this chick named Sarah, who may be pregnant with his child. She's definitely pregnant. Charles might be the dad. We don't know yet. But where last we left off, Wolverine got his ass kicked by this ghoul who is also named Sarah. I think they're the same Sarah, which is why we keep flashing back to her. Could also just be something to throw us off. Nightcrawler and Rogue are, well, she's flying and he's teleporting for the sake of moving faster. They reach the point where Logan was, and he is in a bad way, but it's a trap. Sarah left him here to drag out the other X-Men. Being the team leader, Rogue starts giving orders. She sends Nightcrawler home with Wolverine, calls Gambit, and tells him, the boys are coming in, you better take care of them. And then Sarah shows up. And this entire issue is pretty much just one gigantic fight between Rogue and Sarah. and it is great. We even find out that Rogue's got a little bit of a secret. When she absorbs someone's powers, if she absorbs enough of it, she can store it for later. She's still got a little Captain Marvel hidden back there she can pull out when she really needs to. And allegedly, she can move Captain Marvel's power from the body specifically to a fist, meaning she could probably knock down an entire building with one punch if she wanted to. There's a brief break in the fight so Sarah can give a little bit of backstory. There was a flood, and she held onto the roof of her house with one hand and her child in the other hand. At some point in the night, she looked down, and her child just wasn't in her hand anymore. And at some point, she just let go herself. Later on, whatever emerged from the water wasn't quite Sarah anymore, it was this thing. And then the fight continues. Also, Sarah's strong enough to just straight up snap Rogue's wrist. And while that fight is going on, Grey Malkin Manor sends in Sarah's, I don't know, cohorts? It's some kind of weird deer tree animal thing, and a bunch of dudes in cloaks with swords. They show up at the farmhouse to take out the new mutants, and Gambit's like, nah, that's not gonna happen. Just in time for this fight to start, Wolverine wakes up. I got through this pretty fast, but this one actually took a minute to read. There's a lot of dialogue. For as much fighting as there is, there's actually a significant amount of dialogue. I love this. I absolutely love this. I love the fact that Rogue can just hold on to powers and move them around as she needs to. I love the fact that she can just go toe to toe with this thing that shredded Wolverine. The art was absolutely beautiful. Story was good. Easily 5 out of 5. And that's been my picks for this week. Hopefully this video will get out in the same week that I read these. If you like what you saw, like, subscribe, and check out the rest of the channel. We got a lot of cool stuff, and we got some Halloween stuff coming up in the next week or two. I've been Skeletor. Catch you later.